We've got some breaking news coming in. Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi's meeting with Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amarinder Singh will be starting any moment now. Any moment now, the big anticipated meeting between Captain Amarinder Singh and Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi is expected to begin. The Gandhis are, remember, finalizing a plan to impose a truce over the warring Sardars, Captain Amarinder Singh and Navjot Singh Sidhu, a formula before their talks with the captain. The meeting with Amarinder is being held before the Congress party makes an official announcement on an expected new role for rebel leader Navjot Singh Sidhu, who's launched a very visible and aggressive campaign against the sitting Congress Chief Minister of Punjab, Captain Amarinder Singh.
The fierce Sardar versus Sardar battle in Punjab is giving Congress rank and file the jitters. Captain Amarinder Singh, the powerful Chief Minister, is facing an open rebellion from the party's new face, Navjot Singh Sidhu. And so far, the party's top brass appears clueless in its peace talks. The Gandhis, who denied Amarinder audience 2 weeks ago when he was in Delhi, have finally decided to meet him. Sources tell India Today the meeting will give final shape to a truce formula to end the dissension in the Punjab unit. The meeting comes just a week after Sidhu's talks with Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi in Delhi. The meetings were seen as a direct snub to Amarinder. But now, Sonia Gandhi's meeting with Amarinder has raised hopes of a ceasefire. The Congress is running out of time ahead of the elections next year and wants to end the strife as soon as possible.
समिति ने अपनी रिपोर्ट कांग्रेस प्रेसिडेंट को दे दी है। जुलाई के प्रथम सप्ताह तक 8-10 तारीख तक जो है कांग्रेस प्रेसिडेंट का निर्णय आ जाएगा।
Sidhu has been at loggerheads with Amarinder Singh over a series of issues, ranging from sacrilege of Guru Granth Sahib to police firing on protesters in 2016 to captain's alleged proximity to the Akalis. Peace between the two is key to Congress prospects in Punjab, which is just one of the 3 states where the party is in power on its own. Bureau Report, India Today.
And India Today's Anand Patel is right outside Sonia Gandhi's residence in 10 Janpath, where that meeting is expected to take place. Lots of anticipation, Anand, that an announcement made, today or shortly after the Gandhis meet with Amarinder Singh will bring to a close what has been a vicious few weeks as far as the Punjab Congress is concerned, with Captain Amarinder Singh pitted against a very rebellious, a very aggressive and very explicit Navjot Singh Sidhu. What's the buzz that you're hearing from inside 10 Janpath at this time?
Well, yes, Shiv, this is a much anticipated meeting between Congress President Sonia Gandhi and Captain Amarinder Singh, Chief Minister of Punjab. This comes after 2 visits by Captain in the month of June, in which he was denied any audience with the party high command. So this is, you can say this is the climax of this month-long exercise which was put in place by the party high command to sort out differences among leaders, particularly those between Navjot Singh Sidhu and Captain Amarinder Singh. So clearly, after having a meeting with Navjot Singh Sidhu himself and about a dozen other leaders from Punjab, Rahul Gandhi has taken a first-hand account of what's the situation on the ground, what is the kind of anger over non-fulfillment of pre-poll promises by the captain regime, and also other promises which the Congress party had made in the run-up to the assembly polls in 2017. So clearly, the Congress party high command is now equipped with all the data, all the material, all the information, and they'll be confronting Captain Amarinder Singh when he comes here at 10 Janpath. You can see his advanced party security team is already here at 10 Janpath, and Captain Amarinder Singh is expected to land up here any moment now. What we have been told is a compromise formula has been prepared in consultation with the 3-member committee who took feedback from the MLAs and the MPs, and we are told that Navjot Singh Sidhu is still adamant that he should be made the chief of state unit.
Yes.
But Captain Amarinder Singh and his camp are completely against it. Remember, a few days ago, a meeting took place in which the Hindu leaders met Captain Amarinder Singh over lunch. And at there, a resolution was passed that only a Hindu leader should be made PCC chief. So it remains to be seen as to how the High Command managed to convince Captain Amarinder Singh to placate Navjot Singh Sidhu in the run-up to the assembly poll, Shiv.
It's going to be difficult. It's a tricky one for the Gandhis. Very strong personalities. Both of these big Sardar leaders in Punjab right before the elections, they sense a weakened leadership. They sense that this is the time to strike and, get their pound of flesh, as it were. And Navjot Singh Sidhu sniffs the opportunity to get something bigger for himself. Is he going to be placated? What is he going to be placated with? All big questions that hopefully will be answered in just the next few hours. Anand Patel right outside 10 Janpath, where that meeting is expected to take place. Captain Amarinder will be pulling in his convoy any moment now. We'll get you those live images. While we wait for that, let me tell you about how Captain Amarinder Singh hasn't been sitting pretty while Sidhu has met with the Gandhis, with Priyanka Gandhi, with Rahul Gandhi, and while Captain Amarinder Singh had actually been snubbed on 2 earlier occasions. The Punjab Chief Minister has drawn a line in the sand. He's made it very clear to the leadership he doesn't want Sidhu as Deputy Chief Minister or as the Congress chief in Punjab, as Anand just told us. He is unhappy, in fact furious, with Navjot Singh Sidhu's statements to the media. Senior leaders are unhappy with undue favours being extended to Navjot Singh Sidhu by the top leadership, especially from Priyanka and Rahul Gandhi, and especially given that Captain Amarinder Singh was seen to be snubbed when the Gandhis refused to meet him when he arrived here on 2 occasions to meet the so-called crisis committee. Now, why is Sidhu on the warpath? Let's always remember what's going on here. There are only a few months to go for the Punjab elections. Sidhu accuses Chief Minister Amarinder Singh of a quid pro quo with the opposition Akalis. They're the arch rivals, the nemesis of the Congress in Punjab. Amarinder Singh's alleged unfulfilled promises is another allegation that Sidhu makes. He says the botched up probe in the Kotkapura and Behbal Kalan firing cases is another issue at Captain Amarinder Singh's threshold. Inaction against the Badals, who he accuses of being the most corrupt politicians in the country, in the Bargari sacrilege case, is another emotive issue on which Sidhu has been attacking Captain Amarinder Singh. I want to bring Anand back in on this because he's been really covering both sides of this extremely vicious divide between, 2 charismatic and popular leaders in Punjab. When Sidhu met with Priyanka and Rahul a few days ago, Anand, it was widely seen to be a kind of panic gesture to ensure that this volatile, unpredictable Sidhu does not, quit the party in a huff. I think that was the point there. Now the point is to actually put on the table a formula. The expectation from the Punjab Congress, the Karyakartas, I'm guessing, and the election machinery in Punjab, the expectation, Anand, correct me if I'm wrong, is going to be enough is enough. Please resolve this today.
Well, absolutely, Shiv. That is what the sentiment is on the ground, and that is the reason why the party high command had put in a process that all the MLAs, all the cabinet ministers, MPs and prominent leaders from Punjab would be heard before a decision is taken. And about a week ago, we were told that by the 8th to 10th of July, the decision will be out, will be made public. So clearly, this is the climax of that entire process which is taking place today, with Captain Amarinder Singh himself coming down at 10 Janpath, and he'll have consultations with the party high command. We are expecting that Rahul Gandhi will also be present in the meeting. He had met Sonia Gandhi a couple of hours ago, also at 10 Janpath. So we are expecting him also to be present here. But interesting fact here, Shiv, is that on the previous 2 occasions when Captain Amarinder Singh had sought time from Sonia Gandhi, he was denied an audience. Now this time around, now since the entire exercise is complete, the High Command has prepared a complete roadmap and a truce formula. Now is the time that he'll be meeting with the party president to discuss the final truce formula, which will be put in place so that this entire dissension is quelled before the election process takes place. before the entire election machinery comes into action, which is very important
Yes.
because, as you mentioned, the workers' morale is down at the moment, and that is what is of prime concern. If the workers are
Yeah.
not happy, how can the party win the election? How can they convince the electorate? So that is
Absolutely.
what is the prime motive, to put all the dissensions out of the scene and make the party leaders, be it the Sidhu camp or Bajwa camp or Captain camp, work together unitedly as a force in the upcoming elections.
And the electorate is watching. It's not just the Karyakartas. And there can be nothing worse in terms of messaging and signalling than a divided house. Can the Congress get its house in order in time to make the most of the rest of the time available before the elections and to mount a solid unified campaign? Remains to be seen. All eyes on 10 Janpath. We'll get you the latest on that meeting as soon as Captain Amarinder Singh arrives.